welcome to the latest episode of, what's our podcast again? Oh, yes, it's Slow Cooked Indignant Frogs. And I'm your host, Kong, along with my co-host. Oh, let's make this work. Come on.
Guj suck.
Yeah, but I got your intro video right there. Guj suck. Bam.
Oh, nice.
Dazzling. You like that picture?
I'm going back to it. I'm on my phone again. So.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. It is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a picture of...
I had to click on it. I was on yours.
Oh. Yeah. It's a picture of Pictusan. So,
Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Good times.
Good times. All right, so let's begin our section with the hot seat.
All right.
It's not playing the animation. Come on. There we go. Just takes a while.
Ah.
All right, so one of the things that we had talked about was let me start off with the highs. So things currently working really well. I found, like I said, I found a temporary fix to the internet issue. Unfortunately, what that means is I have to not let my computer sleep or turn it off. Because once that happens, like, I'm out, and I don't know when it's going to come back on. So I have to keep it on. And the way I do that is I play a lot of YouTube videos. So yeah.
Did you just play muted?
What's up?
Did you just play muted?
Yeah, well, I don't have speakers hooked up anyways. Like, whenever I'm at the computer, I just use headphones. So.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. And let's see, the other high of the week is the times I didn't have the internet. And I was, because usually when you're on the internet, you're doing something productive, or at least you like to think you are, right?
Right.
And, it kind of caused me to think, well, what exactly does being productive really mean? And I guess we can talk about that.
Well, that's actually a really good. Yeah.
Let's see. And the lows. Today, however, I'm not really feeling productive. So I think a way to solve that is maybe to jot down some notes, like some things that I need to get done. And just work towards everything and just start knocking things out.
Yeah.
Let's see, other lows are my left shoulder hurts, and probably need to buy some foam cushions for my mattress. And let's see, another low. This is the lowest of the lows, man. The active investments, they're losing money, man. Losing money. So.
Yeah. My 401k didn't do as good last year as it did the year before either, so it's just kind of crappy.
Yeah.
Well, so on the highs, I maintained waking up generally pretty consistently around 9 and 9:30. There was even one morning where I got up at like 8:30, which was pretty cool. It wasn't so cool at 11 p.m. when I was still at work, but in general, it's been pretty successful. I think I've been able to be a lot more productive as far as my day-to-day chores around the house, I suppose you could say. I think you're right. We probably need to touch on the topic of what is productive. And I think that's probably productive in many different categories, but, in general, just, keeping up with dishes and cleaning up, and I'm not very good at organizing, and my girlfriend's kind of an organizing freak, so apparently I impressed her with the progress I made, so
that's good. That's good.
I take that as a good sign,
high.
so, yeah. Lows, I was not successful in creating what I wanted for the spreadsheet on my to-do list. I think I'm going to be resorting to a notebook for the meantime, just because, as much time as I do spend at a computer, it's not, like, it's so easy to just ignore the spreadsheet and just be like, oh shit, I forgot to fill it out. I'll do it tomorrow. Whereas, like, if I have, like, a purpose place to go to do it, and it seems to be working for my best friend in Virginia, the one that owns the bed and breakfast. Uh, that's what he's doing, so I figure I might as well literally take a page from his book, I guess. So conveniently, I got a notebook for Christmas from my girlfriend's mom, so
Oh, nice.
I don't have to shop for one. It happens to be a Star Wars one with Boba the Fett on the cover, so I guess I can't complain. It was a pretty good year to be a fan for Star Wars, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty good movie, I'll have to admit.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I was quite happy. So, and it's kind of nice, as a father of a girl, it's kind of nice to see a girl as the hero. So,
That's true.
always a
Yeah,
plus.
that's a good point. Yeah, did you really get female protagonists in the lead role?
Yeah, I think that's something I'd like to get my daughter into is the Star Wars universe, and I don't think she was nearly as interested in anything other than maybe Chewbacca, and probably just because she wants to call a dog Chewbacca. I think that's all she really wants. But now she might actually be interested in it, because she's typically interested in what girls do. And while I do want her to do whatever she's interested in, I don't want her to necessarily fall through the stereotypical, female life. I don't want her to fall entrapped with that. But anyways, that's a bunny trail. Probably a good conversation for another time, I guess.
Probably.
But yeah, I'm quite happy I've got this book. It's hard-covered. It's pretty simple. Just lined pages. I'm going to have to probably talk with my friend again, just kind of see what he puts in it. But he basically, from what he told me and what I can remember on the phone conversation, was that he calls it his success. Which is kind of borrowing a page from all the success talks for businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
But he figured it's positive. What he does every night is he writes down the tasks and goals that he has for the next day. So, I think he writes down one or two major goals that he wants to do. And if he gets those done, there's some other tasks and goals that he'll put in there as optional, and he can go and do those or things like that. I think it's been pretty successful. I need to touch base with him. He's kind of hard to talk on the phone since he travels a bit. In West Virginia, they don't have good phone service, so.
Yeah.
But I don't. It seems to be working with him, and he is generally, when I think of somebody in my small group of friends, he's one that I would say is more productive than probably a lot of us. So, but he's always been that way. It probably helps that he had a helicopter mom for a mom. So.
I don't know. According to all these internet articles nowadays, they're always saying how helicopter parents are ruining children, making them too soft or whatever. But I don't know. It's kind of debatable. But
Yeah, his sister didn't turn out so well, but
really?
he did. He's pretty productive. I mean, he works mostly remote, so he has to he has to make sure he dedicates enough time for work, plus running the B&B with his wife. His wife's also remote, so I think it also helps the fact that his wife's able to keep that kind of, mentality. It's kind of like the group that, the mastermind group we're talking about is keep the people around you that are good for you. And this way, it's his second wife, so she's definitely much better than the first,
Yeah.
especially in those regards.
Actually, I just stumbled upon a Onion article on the pros and cons of helicopter parenting. I just went and typed it in Google, and I didn't know that there was an Onion article, but there is.
Somehow that does not surprise me. Yeah. I wonder how many people take it as truth.
Well, China's media takes it as proof.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
But I guess that means that we moved on from the hot seat to the mastermind segment, which is where we talk about and debate, issues about things that we were talking about. So we had mentioned issues with productivity and computers and time management and all that stuff. And let's see. So I don't know about you, but just these past couple of days, not having the internet, I was kind of like, okay, well, what do I do? I mean, it's not like I was completely cut off from the internet. because I
Right.
could connect with my phone.
Sure.
Yeah. So what did I end up doing? I kind of just fell back to the really, really old habits of just kind of lounging around and like staring at the screen, looking for something entertaining to watch. But then as far as like actually getting things done, like I guess I just didn't do what I felt like I was supposed to do. Like even though you know you need to do something and yet you don't, like that's the worst sort of feeling.
Right. Like, oh, I know the trash is full. I should go take it out. And then just sitting
Right.
there.
But then at the same time though, I mean if you think about work before the time when we had computers, right? Like how did we actually get things done?
Right. Right. I mean, obviously, I'd say you and I probably work mostly with computers in our life, but at the
Right.
same time, the ubiquitous connection that the computers provide is relatively new to us, especially in the smartphone angle.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I guess to-do list. There's what the to-do list on the freezer or the fridge door. Go you write lists down, and here's what I need to get for my groceries. No applications to do things for you.
Right.
Um, huh. Yeah. How did we track productivity?
I think tracking it was much more harder unless you're talking about very specific tasks that were very, very quantifiable. But
Right,
I think
like the trash can being empty after you take it out. Obviously, you did your task.
right. But then,
So,
say my last job, where a lot of the stuff we did was really qualitative based, I would say. But they try to quantify it by, let's say, how many hours did you spend with the client? And every time you had a client, you'd had to log it in. Like if it was more than 15 minutes, then okay, it was a significant amount of time. Anything less than 15 minutes, then it's only known as a referral. And so it was counted in a different way. So like we tried to develop a form of metrics, but then it turned out that you kind of um, ended up having to game the system by working very, very inefficiently to show that you were quote unquote productive. So I think that's one bad way of setting up quantifiable factors to measure. And I think computers, I don't know if computers make it worse or if they kind of make things better in those regards. I don't know. Because before the system, right? Because they relied on, well, the system relies on a database that you have to enter, of course, via computers. But before the system even came about, well, there was no system really. We kind of just did our thing, and no one really tracked it. So, ah, that explains what I'm just talking about myself here. So we have some technical difficulties, and let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can get the Gujisuk back before I start talking to myself again. Okay, well, I'll wait for him to come back. In the meantime, what was I saying? Yes. So, computers, do they make you productive? Well, in this case, obviously it didn't. Because then we ended up spending more time trying to input things into a database. And hey, Gujisuk's back.
all right, Con. Yeah, I'm back. A little technical difficulty there. I don't even
Yes,
know what that was all about, but
that's right. My
it's,
phone does that sometimes too, but whatever.
yeah, I just updated the software and I'm kind of regretting it. So
Oh.
uh,
Well,
we'll see how it goes out. But
what I was last talking about was basically how, this keeping with the same topic of that database that we try to use to quantify things at my last job.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So in this case, it's a bad example of how computers actually complicates our lives rather than makes it easier, like like they were supposed to. Um, but what was I saying? Oh yes. But I think that's also more of an issue with the way people come up with certain things to quantify things. And I think when they set the wrong factors, then it's an issue. But in any case, I think some things that you may want to consider as far as like keeping yourself productive. I think I like your model of doing it low tech with the notepad. But if you wanted to consider like the high tech options, right? Um, one thing I started using was this thing called swipes. Oh, really? You're just gonna be blank? There we go.
Is it an app on the phone?
Yeah, it's an Android app.
Oh, okay. Well, that's perfect.
It's I think it's very user friendly as far as like setting up tasks and then setting up certain times and what intervals you want it to remind you out. So like if you have an event that's coming up, it's like okay, well hey, did you do it or not? And this is even before Tinder came out, but it kind of has that swipe left, swipe right feature.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like years before Tinder, so
Interesting. Oh.
yeah. And then these are some other ones right here. One that I'm using right now is called Pledge. I don't think it's as good as swipes in many circumstances, but the advantage I think here is that the size is about half the size of swipes.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as permissions goes, it's not really invasive. It doesn't really ask for a lot of permissions.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to get more conscious of my privacy. I don't know how beneficial it is, but or at least minimize some of that stuff. But yeah, I think that was one of the things I was thinking about, and I don't have the technical know-how to write my own app, but something, because let's face it, I have my phone on me more often, probably more than anything else, really.
Right.
And it's certainly if there was something I could say, hey, did you make your bed this morning?
Yeah.
Check this checkbox. All right, great, you made your bed this morning.
Yeah.
And then of course there's always the data analytic piece, which if I really want to get into, I could say, oh, I made my bed 96% of the time. What were those times that I did not? What days were those? Okay, what was going on those days?
Yeah, most of those are going to be like really advanced, and usually they're going to want to have they're going to want to set some sort of membership of some sort. Oh, actually, I think Swipes actually doesn't have a membership system, but it's free.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, the thing is like I don't even remember the password to whatever account I had set up, so that's kind of a moot point.
Right.
Yeah. So and I don't think they have a password recovery system or something. But in any case, Swipes was user friendly. Some other things you might want to check out is Habit Tracker. I haven't tested this one out yet. What else is there? There's another one called Quality Time. This one actually looks close to what you were just talking about, where it actually tracks like, okay, how long you were doing a certain event or whatever. And see.
Interesting.
It's a little bit bigger than Swipes, but as far as permissions goes, it's a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it asks for like your contact info, SMS.
Right.
It wants to access your phone, so it's like it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm not against the stuff as long as it's limited on what kind of user information it keeps and that sort of thing. So, I mean, in reality, today's world, you got to share your personal data somehow, sometimes.
Right.
So it's just a matter of
pick your evils.
Pick your evils. How much information do they have, and do you trust them?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I mean, the book I think is just going to be an easy. I can get this off the ground quickly. The problem with it is it's not easy to go back and say, oh, what did I do on February 29th? Like, I got to go flip pages, and that's not necessarily convenient.
Well, with these things is that rather than trying to remember what you did at a certain time or date, like you set the activity that you want to do, and you think ahead of time, like, okay, well, I want to do this activity, and then like it'll actually give you a reminder.
That's like cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Like something where I can say daily, right. Did you do your bed? Like, okay, or every Friday, did you, did you vacuum the floors? Whatever the case, whatever task it is.
Yeah.
If I can automate a lot of the reminder piece of that, especially for the menial tasks, then, those are the easiest things to start feeling productive on. Oh, go ahead.
But let's see. The only thing, like I know some people, they might be asking like, okay, so what's the difference between this app or these apps and say just setting up a Google Calendar event? Well, the thing with a Google Calendar event is that it'll keep popping up. You can set your intervals, yeah, but as far as setting up events, it's not as easy as some of these apps. First of all, second of all, is that let's say there are some days where you just don't get around to doing what it is that you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, so um, what ends up happening is that out of habit, you start to ignore a lot of things that pop up on your screen, and you just don't do it at all.
Yep.
You just carry on with whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, that is so true. I used to in my last position, I was basically my workflow was completely managed in my Outlook calendar. I didn't have a concession phone, so it wasn't tied to a phone in per se, but I mean, I had it down to like, the times that I would read my email was on my calendar, times I took lunch. And that was as good as I used it, but you're right. The moment it was so much easier to ignore them, and there was nothing to look back on and say, hey, you actually didn't read your email at this time that you said you read your email at. So it never really sat there and reminded me. But I think these apps, at least if they can say, uh, hey, you need to do this, or hey, you never acknowledged that you did this. This is your bad, Gujay, bad. Let me
Right.
slap you on the wrist, or at least track those times, and I can then analyze. Okay, well, why am I not doing this task? Is the task even necessary, or is it maybe something I'm trying to do at the wrong time? Maybe I need to schedule it for a different part of the day.
Right.
So. Like taking out the trash. For me, much easier to do it right before I will go to work. That's a perfect example. So if I said, take out the trash or check the trash before you go to bed, well, that's not a very good time for me to do that.
Yeah, and possibly it might even get to a point where a lot of these activities you just won't even need a reminder, right? It's kind of like, do you need a reminder to take a shower or brush your teeth, or like what you did just mentioned is take out the trash. You don't really need to remind yourself about taking out the trash at this point
Right.
because you've made it into a habit, and the way you've done that is you've combined it with another activity, which is getting ready to go to work. So, but as you're getting ready to go to work, hey, it's convenient to just take out the trash, and it just makes everything simple.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the truth. Is there's a lot of activities that don't need those tasks. They don't need a reminder per se. But I think some of those might be the good ones to start with, at least to be building the habit of using the system. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. There's a lot of options. I do think in some ways or technology allows us to be aware of productivity, but it can as long as we don't fall in the trap of being sucked into the technology itself.
Yeah.
Like in my mind. So you're right. I could do, Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar for all of these little things, but then I have to spend so much time managing that. So, and there's certain things like I think I kind of want to set a set time frame for, like, a set time frame each day to go for a walk or something like that. But if I start doing that for everything, then all I'm doing is just setting time to manage my time. So,
Yeah, there's that, but I mean, there's something to be said at least. I mean, even if you are managing your time, it's still better than not doing anything at all, I guess. So,
true. Well, yeah, because it's so much easier to just fall into the, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow.
right.
Rather than, 10 a.m. to 10:30 is walk time, or whatever the case might be. But
Yeah. Actually, one game that might get you walking is something called oh, I think it's called Inverness. Let me see.
how do you
Like,
spell that?
let's see. I think it's Inverness. Maybe. Oh, dang it.
Is it like a walking app?
No, it's a augmented reality app
Huh.
that it kind of forces you to go to certain spots, and then you're playing this game of like, are you part of like the Resistance or some other group or something like that, and then you have to like fight for control of these certain portals that pop up in the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
it forces
geez.
you to walk around to different areas in the.
Yeah. Oh, geez. I just can't remember the name of the game. No, it's not Inverness. Something Labs. It was done by a group that was bought out by Google. So Google owns this, and they're the ones actively developing it. Like it first. Oh man, when did it come out? This was like years ago, but like I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there are games that actually make you go outside and kind of force you to walk. Um, and there's actually some other apps out there that kind of go along the same lines of like being to-do lists, but then they kind of try to gamify it, like Life
Right.
RPG, um, Habit Streak, goal setting, not so much Habatica. Task Hammer is another one. I tried Epic Win, and it was just really slow and groggy. I wouldn't recommend that one, to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think augmented reality is definitely an interesting potential. You know.
Yeah. But let's see, what else is there? So there's productivity issues, time management, and money. Oh, geez, money. Um, I don't want to talk about my losses, but there are ways I can definitely save on my money, which is why I haven't bought a new computer yet. Um,
Yeah.
Sleep quality, though. How's your sleep quality going?
It's actually been pretty good. I tried taking a nap today just because I was feeling on the weather. That didn't work out so well,
Mm,
um, but I slept pretty well last night, so I don't. That's probably partly why it didn't work out. I don't think I really needed the nap. It was just like I'm going to try to do this to hopefully make myself feel a little better.
right.
But yeah, I mean, right now it's been pretty good. I've generally woke up feeling rested. I think part of that is now I'm starting to feel more kind of successful to waking up in the morning, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So rather than being like, like I just want to stay in for another hour, it's like, oh wow, now I'm up at 9 a.m. I can get so much stuff done today. Whether I actually do get all that much stuff done or not, but that's a different story. But at least I feel like I can, and it makes it a little bit more. I think that's actually kind of helping. So.
Yeah. So just to backtrack on the topic we were talking about, Ingress is the name of the game.
Oh, Ingress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. Huh.
But anyway, yeah. So back to sleep quality. I noticed for me personally, because I'm still battling with my sleep issue. But yeah, we can. I'm not gonna get into the specifics, but mainly right now, my like I said, my left shoulder hurts, and that's
Right.
because the mattress that I have is like really hard. So I need to buy
Oh
some
yeah.
yeah some foam to go over it. But then most of the stuff that's out there is pretty expensive. Like what, $30 for like a piece of foam to go over your bed?
Right. Right. Yeah, it's definitely pretty expensive. Not only that, like I think there's a few tricks with it. Like you have to typically let those things because they're compressed into packages, right? So you have to let them kind of expand, and then I don't know. There's a.
No, you have to do that with the beds for sure, but like mm, the toppers, I don't think you have to worry about that as much because they're
Oh,
usually
okay.
like an inch and a half or like at most 3 or even 4 inches sometimes. So
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah,
So then maybe it's not as compressed.
right. Well, it's not as thick that you have to worry about compression.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like even $35 is more on the cheap side. I mean, usually they're like what, 60, 70, 80 or something.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think they're easily you can get up to $100 depending where you buy it at and
right.
what they seem to claim that they can do.
Yeah, because I've had foam furniture before, and I mean some of it's good, but some of it is like I mean, it gets really hot easily, and I definitely can't do
Hmm.
that. I've had furniture where I've slept on it, it was supposed foam, and it was just like, oh man, it's the worst. Like the apartments I was living in was already hot enough, and to sleep on top of this is just,
Right,
unbearable.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that is the downside with foam. Like I've got a foam mattress that does pretty good, but it can get a little hot sometimes, especially in the summer, which where I'm at, that can be can be quite hot sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh, Hence the AC bills. But yeah, that's one of the things. Like I am thinking about investing in a better mattress at some point. My girlfriend and I are probably going to move in and then move again, and we're going to actually move in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she can't drive, so there's no public transportation there. But we were talking about that. Now, and we're not going to get a different mattress or anything like that. But there's no. It doesn't make much sense to me to get something. Have to get rid of what I already have and then move when I can do that all together. So we'll probably
Right.
just save up until November and get something bigger and a little bit more comfortable. I mean, I got one of the fancy cheap IKEA mattresses is pretty much what I have right now. So, it's of limited quality, and fortunately, it did not come in multiple parts like most IKEA furniture.
Right.
But
Oh jeez.
um, yeah, I think that'll ultimately help, especially sharing a bed. It's sometimes it's kind of important to have a better bed quality. Because there's more opportunities for sleep disruption as it is.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. So I think that's good for now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next section, the high leverage section. I have yet to finish this little transition thing. So I'll figure it out as we go along. But
Oh
anyways,
yeah.
yes. So this is the section where we're going to try and keep ourselves accountable for certain things. And for let's see, for me, like I said last week, I was going to try and clean up this counter right here, which, if you can see, is just full of mess.
Yeah, that was the picture you sent me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and then I got it to look as clean as this.
Nice.
Yeah. Now,
Nice. Quite.
along the way, it's not to say that I didn't have it, filled with things at all. I still had it filled with things at certain moments, but then I managed to make sure that I kept it, in this pristine condition, that I actually reminded myself to actually move everything aside and just take everything away. So last week, actually, I had some eggs that were about to expire, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta do something with these eggs. So then I was like, okay, well, I got some things in the fridge. I want to make some noodles, like by hand. so so that didn't turn out as well as I had hoped, but it could have been worse. So with this counter space that I had, I actually like I didn't have a rolling pin, so I was like trying to use my hands to like pound everything as hard as possible
Oh
to
yeah,
like make it
yeah.
as clean as I could. Yeah. So yeah, I did that. I cut up the noodles right, and I thought I'd cut it up like nice and thin. Oh geez, man, like so of course I don't have an actual stove, so I used that microwave right here on the right hand corner,
Hmm.
and I boiled some water. I had the noodles. I had it in the freezer, so then I brought them out, and then I dumped them in the boiling water, and then let the microwave run for another 10 minutes to let these noodles cook. Oh man, they came out as thick as like those Japanese udon noodles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like they were uneven and they looked really messy, and I was like, oh geez, makes you appreciate how good noodles are made. But
Right.
yeah, so I did that. Um, so yeah, I kept my promise, made sure I did this, and now it's time to move on to another horizontal surface, possibly my computer desk because it's looking really really bad.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, one step at a time, and then, if you kind of can keep it, obviously that's the challenge going forward is keeping it or returning it back to normal, I suppose you could say, whatever the normal state should be.
Yeah.
But no, good job, man. I think it's definitely more success than I had this week. So it's
All right. So let's see. So earlier you'd mentioned the walking issue and trying to find, get time to walk. I think was that the main thing you wanted to?
well. So my main thing going into this week was I wanted to essentially have a way to track and any of my duties. So I think for actual tracking what I do for walking, there's a good app out there called Map My Walk. Is it Map My Walk or Map My Run? I think it's designed for running, but you could really use it for anything you want. And then for food, there's MyFitnessPal,
Oh yeah,
which I
yeah.
can,
You showed me that.
yeah, which I'm going to start using. I'll probably sign up for them all under my Gmail account. So, and then I can get you, I don't know, I guess I can see if I can maybe export or share with you via Gmail my progress. But so those are the two things that I'm going to start going in this week. Those are I still need to figure out a diet plan, so to speak, and what I plan on eating, how to make that as easy as possible, but one step at a time.
Right.
I was not successful this week as far as creating the Excel spreadsheet that I wanted to do to actually track some of my productivity. But that being said, I was still productive. So, I think at the very least I got quite a bit of cleaning done. My living room, my kitchen. I cleared off some counter space. I kind of took a page from your book and decided to do that as well. I still got some stuff to find spaces for. Unfortunately, my counters are kind of small and I don't have much cabinet space, but at the very least, I got things that did not belong in the kitchen out of the kitchen.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah, so I felt, I didn't track my productivity. I didn't make a to-do list or anything, but I felt pretty productive. So I think this week what I really want to make sure is I start to log what I do, log the food, and probably, let's say, 3 times a week start just walking around the area. Probably short walks, but at least something that I can, track and start getting in the habit of.
Right.
So,
Okay. So how do you want me to keep you accountable and make sure that you actually do what you say you're going to do?
so I think it's probably the food angle and the walking are going to be the two easiest ones. I don't know that they can be shared, so to speak, but at the very least I can take screenshots of those. Filling in the food diary, even if I eat junk food that day. As long as I get in the habit of filling in what I'm eating, I think that's the bigger thing before I start focusing on what I actually eat.
Yeah.
So what I can probably do, if I can't share it with you without you having to create an account, I will take screenshots of those. That should be very easy. So I can take screenshots of the actual walks that I did, as well as screenshots of my daily food logs. And let's see, do you want me to send them to you as I do them, or do you want me to mail them to you at the end of the week?
Let's see. I guess mail it to me once you're done, or either
Okay,
like at the end of the day or the end of the week, whichever you choose.
sure.
Um, but if you're going to be using one of these apps, I think I might try to, test one of these out too. And then, I mean,
Yeah, no,
I think that way we can possibly share through that, right?
yeah. So I know the Map My Run one does that, and I'm fairly certain the MyFitnessPal, which unfortunately is owned now by Under Armour, but it's still quite a good app.
Yeah.
But I think you can have friends, So and then the my knowledge with the Map My Run app will so like if you're my friend on that app, it will actually give you a notification to your app when I complete an exercise.
Right.
So that is pretty handy, because then that way it's just automatic. And it only comes down to either one of us, logging an exercise, which is not too bad.
Right. Well, I know. Well, actually, let's talk about that another week. So there's that. I think we should wrap it up and bring it to the last section.
Apparently, Under Armour also owns Run or Map My Run as well.
Oh yeah. I just noticed the logo on top of there. Yeah, the resource section. So let's see here. No, not that.
One second, Colin.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, so I got a call on my phone, and that immediately ended the call through Hangouts. Interesting.
Huh.
So, yeah, no bueno. But I still need to resolve the Mac issue. I couldn't quite figure that out. So I'll have to, I don't know, mess around with that. But I figured, I was like, well, the phone works, so I might as well just stick with it at the moment. But that was weird. Anyways, you were saying about the applications.
Yes. Well, moving on from the applications to the next section of the resources section, I'm going to work on this little graphic a little bit more. So recommendations and resources. So I found this thing called Optimal Living Daily Podcast. He likes to nickname it the old podcast. So this guy, I guess he started this thing out as a way to kind of get over his social anxiety. So it's kind of a way for him to kind of start talking to people, like talking to people in mass, but kind of do it from the safety of his own computer and behind a microphone. So what he does is he takes certain blog posts about productivity, certain life skills, and then he actually reads it slowly. So rather than you having to go out there and search for some of these blog posts, he actually goes out there and searches for new content that he thinks may help you along the way, but then he reads it to you. So then it also goes back to doing things, grouping things and activities together so that it's more efficient. So rather than having to spend certain times out of your days to read podcasts or read blog posts, then you can, as you're doing your walk, for instance, you can start listening to some of these podcasts.
Yeah. No, that's actually a pretty good idea. I pulled up his website here. Looks pretty good. Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the things that'll help the biggest with me walking is just, like you said, combining it with another task. No, that's actually pretty good. I can't remember the name of the guy. I found a YouTube channel. This is more for some of the stuff that I've been doing. Unfortunately, it's under my other account, which I'd have to log into here really quick on YouTube. But he does different reviews of programming, and he kind of talked about the differences of. So one of the things I'm trying to figure out is what do I want to go? Is it this guy? Yeah, his name's Chris Hawks. I don't know if he has a name for his YouTube channel other than his name, which is Chris Hawks, but he's a programmer. And he's got Hawkes. Let me see here. I think I should be able to. Oh yeah, because that's going to sign me right out. Signing out of one Google account to the other.
Okay, I think I pulled it up. Does he do Node.js?
Yeah, it's got a.
Okay.
Yeah, in Node.js, it's got a little blue and yellow squiggly Django and.
Yeah, the Python signal.
Yep, exactly. So I was browsing around trying to figure out where do I want to go learning wise. My programming teacher's pretty good at stuff, but obviously it's sometimes like him being able to answer the question is me being able to ask the right one. And I didn't
Yeah.
know the right questions to ask, so I was starting to kind of look around, like, what are the different types of programming languages? What's some of his reasoning? He actually has like videos on different programming languages, some other stuff that I'm gonna start looking at too, like my mouse isn't cooperating, but like how he taught himself to be a programmer, some of the probably the techniques and learning and things like that I might be more interested in. I don't think he has a ton of videos. Well, I don't know. I guess he does. He's got a fair amount, but
Well,
and
he's
some
got
of
a
them I
nice
think are
followership.
probably, yeah, some of them are quite technical. He's got, yeah, no, I wish I had 15,000
Yeah.
subscribers. But so the two videos that I actually watched were like the top 10 languages for 2016,
2016. Yeah.
which fortunately one of them is C, which I'm learning. And then he kind of gave his reasoning for them and why they're popular, and kind of gave me some insight on maybe moving towards Java or something like that. I think is from what he sees is still quite big. And then he also has, so there's I forget what the type of language it's called. It's let me see here. I can find
Let's
it.
see, there's why you
Functional.
should learn
So they're
Python.
functional. Yeah, and then there's things called functional programming languages like Haskell and a couple others, I think. And he kind of talks about why those aren't as popular just yet. So it's enlightening. It kind of showed me that there's still a lot more that I have to learn,
Yeah.
but it gives me an extra resource on things that I can like ask my teacher questions about.
Huh.
Um, so, and I think what I might do. So it also gives me some direction with my classes because so the classes that I'm in doesn't really have a regimented program. Um, which is fine, because I've been through college before. I kind of know the deal. But at the same time, it doesn't say like, oh, if you really want to start getting, our suggestions for programming, if you really want to be a programmer that matters, is learning this language. So I think one of the things I'm going to try to do is get into a Java course. There was a PHP, Python, and Perl survey class that I was a little on the fence for, and I think I'm going to do that one as well. And I think in some regards, I'm going to try to diversify as much languages as I can while I have the ability to do it in school.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm going to do that this school seems to have a lot more deeper classes on C, so I'm going to try to follow those all the way through, so that way I can, get as much kind of a deep experience at least in one language, and then touch on the other languages as much as possible. That way I kind of have a broad understanding without, the limited, because there's the problem where you can just get like I know a couple things about every language, but I don't know, I'm not good at one. Well, I want to learn deep into one, and at least this school offers kind of the overviews of others, and I think I'll try to take those. So I
Yeah.
was on the fence of doing those and trying to do more Linux stuff, but it doesn't go so deep on the Linux side of things, so I don't think I'll do that. I think I'll pursue more of the programming route.
Huh.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting actually. Yeah. It's funny how programming is kind of like the thing now as far as, I mean, aside from IT, programming is the other way as far as like using computers and you know getting lots of money and all that stuff. I mean, I think I know some people, and sadly, they're not enjoying their time in a lot of these programming boot camps because then it's filled with a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I want to make this sweet app and make millions and millions of dollars. But then he's kind of looking at programming as a sort of almost as an art form, where it's more about like problem solving and things like that. Um, all I can say is that for me, I took a Java class in 2009,
mhm.
and I mean, like, I guess I shouldn't really base my experience with Java and then just like say that programming is not for me because that's what I've been saying for the past couple of years. But then I don't know. Maybe I think I might want to give it a shot again. Maybe I should try to learn Python actually. Which, speaking of which, back to apps, there's another thing I can recommend to you. Oh, let's see. Yeah, guys. Solo Learn. Have you heard of them?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So, same friend. He actually he told me about this, and he said that this app reminds him of Duolingo. And
Okay.
Duolingo is really good as far as like actual human, human language, not programming languages, but like
Right.
teaching you a language. It's actually very good in that it says, okay, here are some syntax and grammar features that you need to learn, and here are some basic phrases along the way, and then here are some exercises to sort of reinforce what you're kind of learning as you're going, and then every so often, even though you've attained mastery of a certain feature or level, it
Hmm.
occasionally it forces you to go back to kind of review what you learned. It's actually pretty
Oh,
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. Yeah, and it's got a couple C++, Java. There's another one that's I've heard good things about too. That's sort of along the idea is called Free Code Camp,
I've
which I
heard about that
think
one.
you I think it works with yeah, according to the website, help nonprofits, but it allows you to understand different coding and they got some of the same stuff, databases, Node.js. So it's not anything. It's more web-based stuff, so it doesn't have something like C++, which actually is really cool. That would be a good
Yeah.
way to move on after my C class. But it's get you in with the community and all that, which I think is a good idea as well. Um, so the other thing I kind of want to try to explore is a little bit of GitHub and some of the open projects and things like that. See if I can obviously once they start getting a little bit more experience. But yeah, I don't want to be the drone like developer, um, but it's I think in some ways if I got stuck doing a job, you know what I mean, like I had to have a job just to pay the bills and do all the other stuff that I want. Developer wouldn't necessarily be bad because it does give the possibility of remote employment,
Right.
which from when you got me interested in the 4 hour work week is certainly something that I am interested in.
Yeah.
Obviously, remote employment takes a lot of willpower to get the job done, but
Oh yeah, but I mean, like,
you know,
think about it, man. If you can get a job, like, let's say if you can get a remote work job, like, with a company in Silicon Valley, right? But where you're living at, cost of living is so low, but you're
right.
getting, pay from like over there. It's like, oh man, it's gonna be crazy. Well, I guess you'd have tax issues to deal with because then you'd be out of state, so they might make you into 1099. So that might be an issue, but
Well, yeah, there might be that. I mean, and that's with any of them. But the nice thing is, Texas has no state income tax.
that's true.
So there is that. And okay, so let's say I had to travel out there once a month. Well, flying from Texas to just about anywhere in the world is pretty easy.
Yeah.
So um, it's not. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I miss about California, especially in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley and all that. But I definitely like the cost out here. So,
Right. Yeah.
but I mean that's my thing is like if I wanted to go out and chill out with you down in, or my buddy out in Virginia, or spend the summer with my daughter doing something, having a remote employment would be pretty nice. The other thing too is like if things get more serious with my girlfriend and she starts working but can't necessarily drive there, remote employment where okay I can take the time to go drop her off and pick her up at work and still do my work isn't necessarily a bad thing either. So at least it gives more flexibility.
Yeah.
Not that she would necessarily ask for that, and I'm not even saying I'm going to offer to do that, but I think the flexibility of hey I'm not feeling so good. Can you drive me instead of me taking the bus or whatever the case may be? But um, and if I have to get stuck working for a business, then I think I would like that better. But I think the opportunities for even startups and being doing something that is fresh and new with software, I think compared to what I'm doing now, I think there's a bit more opportunity in that regards,
Right.
or at least I hope so.
No, I'm pretty sure it is, but well, I mean,
Yeah,
not that the path you're in right now, not that it's any bad. It's just that it may not necessarily be your style. Because I got another friend who's kind of doing the same thing, but he's kind of at the lower rung of the ladder, and he's not
yeah.
liking it at all. Because there's the people he has to deal with and all this other stuff, and that's another issue.
Well,
But
and it's definitely, I mean, because of the industry that I'm in, definitely lends itself to big corporate America, which has its pros and cons. I mean, and I like to think that my company is not necessarily as bad as others, but there is definitely the big corporate vibe, and sometimes it's like, when you look at efficiencies, like, I mean, we had a reduction in forces last October. Well, and they're wanting us to cut money, but we're still doing very successful. But it's like, well, that sucks. Those are things I don't want to be tied with as much as possible.
right,
Though on the plus side, effective yesterday, I became permanent in my temporary position, so
nice.
um, I'm quite happy with, especially since I didn't have to interview for it. That is a major plus.
That's awesome.
So I figure next year I should be able to complete the second bachelor's I've got. Uh, I'm going actually probably that's something I'm going to write down on my to-do list this week. Is so part of the university system, University of Massachusetts. One of the other schools offers an online master's in computer science.
Right.
Uh, Now they have some pre-work courses for people that don't have a background in it. If you've got a different bachelor's, which of course I do. But I'm going to email them and see, what if I'm getting this other degree, what classes carry over, what should I look at, and what do I need to do to get rolling from one right into the other. And if there's some overlap classes, can I take them at the same time? That way I can maximize my tuition assistance. So, yeah.
Well, let's see. Stay on the line. I think we're going to end it right here, but
All
stay on
right,
the line. Hold on.
sure.
Okay. We just did not stay on the line. Um, and the outro didn't play, so we're going to end it right here. Thanks for listening.